Yesterday, right at the end of the day, as we were recording our last hooking up of the wires, the battery in my camera went dead, and you didn't get to see the last little bit of what we did, which was really unfortunate because of what happened shortly after. So we finished hooking up the wires, and the camera went dead, and we decided, well, we'll just stop here because it's almost stopping time, and the next time we come back we'll just pick up right where we're at and continue filming. But we thought, we're right here, we might as well go ahead and test out what we've hooked up, and then we'll know what we'll be showing you guys the next time we film. So we started testing out the relays, and an interesting thing happened. A couple of the flipper relays, after activating them about twice, stopped working. I'm relatively sure that the solid state relay has been destroyed. We moved one of them to a spare relay that we had on the board and tried it again, and after 2 pulses it also died. So the interesting thing is that we have two of the flippers. So both of those were flippers. I think I said that already. But the other 2 flippers seem to be working fine. Now, we haven't given it any extensive testing or anything like that. But we've been thinking about what we're going to do next time we go down there because we're not sure what's happening. More than likely, the flippers, when they're in their high energy mode, are probably pulling more current than these little relays can deliver. The relays are just 2 amp relays, and my gut feeling is that there's probably 3 or maybe even 4 amps of current being drawn by these solenoids when they're engaging. Now, for those of you who don't know, flipper solenoids are actually 2-part solenoids. They have 2 coils in them, and initially one of those 2 coils is shorted out. When you energize it, the coil that isn't shorted out draws a lot of current because it's a fairly low impedance coil, so it pulls a lot of current, which causes a lot of energy, which pulls the plunger in really fast. However, if you maintain that and you held the flipper in, that much current would burn up the coil. So to stop that from happening, once the coil is pulled in, a secondary coil is engaged and placed in series with the original coil, which drastically increases the resistance, decreasing the current, and providing hold current levels that will not produce enough power to burn up the coil. So what I really believe is probably happening is we're just pulling too much current, and we're going to have to get some higher current drivers to drive those particular coils. However, another possibility, and I'm not exactly sure how or why this is working, but Mike indicated that he was seeing arcing on the contacts for the switch that opens once the coil makes. And if that is producing a high enough peak voltage, that arc, that could be also damaging the relay. So next week we're going to try to do some testing where we short out the switch so it can't go out, and we just pulse the thing over and over and over again. If it continues to burn out even though the switch is shorted out and can't arc, then we know that it's the current that's killing it and not the arcing. If, however, that works and it doesn't die, that's the high current mode of the solenoid, it means that the arcing is causing the problem, and we will have to address a way that we can solve that arcing problem. I already have a tentative plan for how to do that, but I'm not going to go into that at this time because I don't know that it's even necessary, and why muddy the water with designs that we're never going to use. So next week, look forward to us burning out some more relays. There's 8 of them on the board. We've destroyed 3 of them already, so we got 5 more to test with. We do have another spare relay board that we can throw in there, but we won't do that until we know what we're up against. The interesting thing is there are a lot of other larger coils on the board that seem like they ought to be destroying the thing also, and they don't seem to be. So yeah, we'll continue to test. We'll try and figure out what's going on. I might try to figure out some way to measure the current that's going through these coils. I can't find any good specs on how much current these coils are capable of drawing. I do know that the entire circuit for all of the solenoids and relays in the entire chassis are fused at 10 amps. There are 4 flippers in the unit, but they're designed in the original design to only activate 1 at a time. So 1 activates, and once it's engaged, then the second one activates. So only one high current mode is available at any one time, but you could activate both flippers simultaneously. So that tells me that 2 flippers maximum current can't be over about 4 amps per flipper, or there wouldn't be any current left to drive all the rest of the stuff on the board. Now, chances are you're not driving a lot of other solenoids or anything while you're hitting the flippers. So there probably doesn't take a lot to drive the rest of the stuff. So they could be pulling about 4 amps, which is twice as much current as these little relays that we have on these boards can handle. So given that, we'll take a look at finding another solution to driving these. There are 10 amp to 40 amp AC relays out similar to the DC relays that we've used, and we will probably order a set of those to drive these. I'm thinking that's a very good likelihood. But again, we're not going to do anything until we get the ordering done next week. So we will see you guys on Monday probably, which is only a few days away, and we'll be back there testing that out. So see you then.